Welcome back. Now, Parafed Bay of Plenty have just announced a new opportunity, a new thing they're doing to provide more opportunities for the physically disabled people in the Bay of Plenty region, from grassroots all the way through to Paralympic sports and recreation. Joining me now from the Working Party is Neil Cudby. Neil, thank you so much for coming on. I know you've been working for the past 8 months on this launch. What's been happening behind the scenes?
We've probably been working a lot longer than that, up to 2 years, but the last 18 months has probably had the most push, I guess, where we've been looking at structures and things like that, from right from the top was Spark down to Paralympics, and using all their information, coming down to Parafeds around the country that are still operating, and using what has worked in those places, and even looking at their budgets. They've been very good at opening up their books and showing us what works and how much it costs.
Oh, see, that's always good to have that kind of information so you can be well prepared.
Yeah, we don't want to make mistakes, do things that we shouldn't be in. We've got to get nice and streamlined and what we should provide and what we could provide.
Yeah, especially for the physically disabled within the region. You've got some pretty big plans in place, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, again, from the research, we did surveys and talked to stakeholders and formed a working party that's worked on a whole lot of structures of how we should go forward. So the plans that have come from all of that research is that we're going to do some training for our governance, our board. We're looking at a board structure with a management underneath it that will actually do the hands-on sort of work with a whole lot of committees around that. And so our board will have training in a month from a very good governance trainer, so I hear from Sport Bay of Plenty. And then we'll look at employing someone to do the management side of it. That'll be a development officer, and they should start in January. And their sole responsibility to start with, for the first year, will be running a series of events called the Evrima Games. Used to be every second year.
And it was just in Whakatane, wasn't it? It's the Evrima Games every second year.
Yeah,
and how's it going to change now?
We're going to look at running it 3 a year. It'll be a little bit different where they add it targeted at elite sport. We're going to try and look at the 3 levels as far as have a go, programs that are ongoing and competitive, semi-competitive, right through to Paralympic level, I guess.
Why is that important, that you actually start sort of grassroots and get more people involved?
It's just I guess it shows what opportunities are there and what people sometimes don't know what they want to do when they're at the grassroots level, and then onto the program, onto the next level up where you think, oh, this is for me, I'll have a go, keep going. And then if they, a talent has come out, they know that they can go on to Paralympic level. And, not all sports are Paralympic, because we look at sport and recreation. Fishing was one of the things that came out from our survey. It's been the most needed or wanted thing that people wanted to do. So.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
It was.
And you don't tend to think about that, when you're thinking about sports for people with physical disabilities, fishing,
Well, I mean, that's why we did the research. And we don't know everything, so, yeah. So
you're looking towards the community, aren't you, for a little bit of support? The community's been pretty supportive already, haven't they?
Yeah, we've got fantastic support sort of at the top level as far as management goes, and at different organisations and people that drive sport and recreation. So we're looking now probably at the actual participants and people to support those, people around that, volunteers and that, to support people actually participating in the events.
But more and more people are getting involved, aren't they?
Yep.
Physically disabled people getting involved in sports.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably why some of the Parafeds fell away, or we did it. People just went off and did their own thing. People are quite independent, but there's certainly a need that people are saying, it's swinging back now, that people are saying, well, actually we need something for us, especially for us, and we need advocacy, or we need to be shown how we can get into mainstream things that are already happening. Things like Wakarama, which is something that's obviously available to us, but people are like, well, how do I get involved? How do I do it? And Wakarama people at the other end of this spectrum are saying, how do we include these people? We want to include them. What do we need to do? And we can be that person between to, form the links.
Have you been pretty surprised about, groups such as the Wakarama wanting to get involved, wanting to know how they can include?
Yeah. Oh, we haven't spoke to Wakarama yet, but it's certainly something that's on the cards for that. But it's certainly, the sailing has been very surprising for me. And I guess it's when you're involved with sport and you're passionate about it, and you see people come in, these people haven't often had the opportunity to do it, and the big smiles on their faces after doing it, gives you a sense of satisfaction, and those sports are getting that satisfaction as well. So that's probably why I think that they're coming on board. Just want more people to experience what they experience and have a good time.
So you've been working on it for nearly 2 years. There's still a little bit more work to be done. When will we see all these changes taking place and the eRimmer Games but coming on every year?
eRimmer will be next year.
Next year?
Yep. So that's certainly straight away. Again, back to our research, we've heard that things like this, people are used to not having stuff put onto them. So while it's there, they may not turn up the first time, but you keep trying. And so I'd imagine that'll be 2 to 3 years before, or 2 years, or hopefully, depending on how good the marketing is, to where people will actually participate in these events, and then we'll probably have things that fail. So it could be up to 5 years before we really settle into really making a difference in the community, I think, and knowing where our path is.
And just one step of it at a time, really, isn't it? Feeling your way. You seem to have done all the research and have quite a lot of support of the community. Yeah.
It couldn't be better. I think that looking at our model of what we're doing, and Paralympics have certainly been patting us on the back of the work we've done, and sharing what we've done to other parafeds that are in the same boat, I guess, of revitalising. So it's been, it's quite satisfying.
Definitely. All volunteering as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Neil, thank you so much for joining me. Neil Cudby there from Parafed Bay of Plenty. Some exciting things that will be happening over the next few years. Right, coming up after the break, we're taking a look at the Waikato River. Find out more next.